Poverty, Prejudice, Bullying, and Child Labor in Joyride by Anna Banks. Joyride was copyrighted in 2015. At the time of this recording, there are no awards per se, but there is wonderful reviews. One of them I found said, "I adored this book. As a Hispanic girl, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I get when I see a Hispanic book character. Unfortunately, most of the books I read with Hispanic characters have them either involved with drug dealers, gangs, or cartels. This can get annoying pretty fast. I love that this book didn't feature any of that stuff, and love even more that other than being a really cute romance, it also deals with some really serious issues like immigration, deportation, and discrimination. Kudos to Anna Banks for not only tackling this subject, but pulling it off so realistically. Bows down. I liked this book so much that I heard it and had to listen to the audio again." How much more important is a good review from reader than a corporation or company? Carly Vega is a 16-year-old high school student who lives with her brother Julio. Their parents got into a car accident and were deported by the local sheriff 3 years before for being illegal Mexican immigrants. Since Carly and Julio's parents never told authorities about having children, they stayed in the family's tiny shack to fend for themselves. Julio works 2 jobs, and Carly works the night shift at a convenience store in order to make enough money to pay their bills and save up to hire El Librador, a smuggler, who wants $60,000 to bring their parents and new baby siblings back home. Carly's focus is solely on her schoolwork and her job until Arden Moss, a popular quarterback from school, enters her life and messes up all of her plans. Arden is still reeling from the loss of his sister, who killed herself after suffering with schizophrenia for years, a fact which their father, the local sheriff, tried to keep a secret. His family is left estranged. His mother, a walking zombie, is hooked on prescription pain medicine. He needs an escape from his life, and Carly is that escape. Arden concocts elaborate pranks to play on unsuspecting locals, who he deems a nuisance for one reason or another. Carly is his accomplice. For her, it is pure fun, something her life has been lacking. Together they make the perfect duo, and Carly relishes her new freedom with Arden until his father finds out that his son is dating a Latina girl. His prejudices are inflamed, and he forbids his son to see her again. The two try to abide by the restriction, but their love will not die. The sheriff catches them again. His identity as El Librador is revealed to Carly alone, and he has her parents return to Mexico in the middle of their journey. Arden, Carly, her brother Julio, and Arden's uncle Cletus must hatch a plan to uncover the identity of El Librador and take his power away from him for good. This story alternates between first-person point of view from Carly's perspective and third-person point of view from Arden's perspective. The structure can be a little confusing at times, but I understand that the author wanted the reader to know the thoughts of both Carly and Arden. Third-person omniscient might have done the trick, but each author is entitled to his or her creative choices. Joyride doesn't just deal with one social reality. The issues of poverty, prejudice, bullying, and child labor are all addressed at some point within the text. That makes this novel a perfect choice for a teacher wanting to instill tolerance and empathy in her students. Carly is stricken with abject poverty when her parents leave. Not only are she and her brother obligated to pay their own bills, but they must also have raise a ridiculous sum, $60,000, for the return of their parents. This poverty affects Carly in a profound way. She has lost her childhood. She has lost her freedom. Carly's thoughts are, the media rarely covers the glamorous life of poverty. It's this hidden gem of truth that only the impoverished get to polish. This shows how isolated she feels, and she's isolated from the entire community until Arden rescues her from her loneliness. There is a difference between a teenager job and the job that Carly has. Most teens get a part-time job to make spending money. Carly's job is full-time. She works from 10 p.m. until just before the school the next day. Her pay is only minimum wage, and she can barely get any sleep. She even works on the weekends. She says, "I slave for my parents. Here in the United States, it's the other way around. Parents sweat and grind for their children. They labor for their education, for them to have nice things, for them to be protected from the world's darker side, like hunger and violence and disease. Here in the States, kids are spoiled. She's not protected, though. She is left open and vulnerable to anyone with an ill motive. The sheriff is the character in Joyride who is the epitome of evil. He was written to have so much prejudice against immigrants that at times I question his authenticity. There were no shades of gray in him. His motive in all he did was to keep up appearances in order to gain community loyalty at the expense of everyone around him. He even ostracized his own daughter for having the inconvenient mental illness. His comments were so direct and scathing that they seemed unreal. However, I know people who think these types of thoughts. I just don't know if any of them would actually say them. Some of these unbelievable comments were, "Your English is commendable. I bet your parents appreciate that when it comes time to ask for a price check on rice and beans at the grocery store." Or, "Mayor Bush may be on vacation, but he still has a live-in housekeeper. And guess whose truck she recognized? Maybe you know her, Carly. Her name is Carmen. She's one of your own." It is obvious by his comments that he is extremely prejudiced against Latinos. His most scathing comment of all is when he tells Carly, "Arden is high cotton. Hugh, you're burlap. Are you reading me?" He's a bully, and it is good that young readers can see that there are adults out there that are bullies, not just kids. Carly shows readers that there are ways you can fight bullies. She shows her vulnerability, her anger, her sadness, but she also shows that she is a fighter. Ultimately, she wins. Through patience, courage, and tenacity, she triumphs. There are many Latinos out there feeling the same powerlessness, disillusionment, and vulnerability as Carly. She can give them hope. Her voice can also prevent future young people from turning into racists like Sheriff Moss. This documentary interviews 4 undocumented immigrants who have come to the United States. It tells about the struggles they go through daily. Also, students can read different entries from the author's blog at byannabanks.blogspot.com and write some journal responses about their thoughts. Another idea is a lesson from the website Teaching Tolerance, which helps students understand the common myths and prejudices associated with immigrants in the United States. It is titled Immigration Myths. Finally, this lesson by PBS Learning Media also helps students understand the issues behind immigration and the prejudices new immigrants faced. It is called A Cold Reception: Anti-Immigrant Sentiment in the United States. Here is the APA citation for the book Joyride.